how to stop sounding nasal. Hi folks, I'm Boba. I'm a singer and a vocal trainer, and this is my channel about anatomical vocal training. Now, many vocal coaches teach you how to not sound so nasal anymore, because when you sound nasal, you kind of sound like this. But you can also not sound totally nasal, but like half nasal, where there's like a little veil in front of your voice, but you can't really tell what it is until you hear somebody speak totally clear. This is what I call clear. And then you hear, oh, there's no veil anymore, right? Here's the veil in front of my nose, which in front of my voice, right? Which makes it that I kind of like, I'm more quiet and I sound a little dull. And this is how the veil is lifted, right? My voice sounds much more clear now, even though my voice is super soft. It's not like I have to talk very, very sharp, right? To lift the veil, I can have a very, very sharp, a very, very smooth, soft voice and still have no veil. And here's a very, very smooth voice with a little veil in front of my voice. So that is nasality, right? And to be able to control that nasality is very, very helpful. Of course, especially for singers, also for speakers, because then people can actually understand what you're saying rather than having to really open their ears to really understand what you're saying. And it's easy for you to pronounce your words nicely and for the listener to actually hear what you're pronouncing and what you're saying very nicely. So instead of telling you just don't sound nasal, just do exercise to not sound nasal anymore, I'm telling you, do sound nasal and really go into it and back and in and back. Meaning, you close your nose, because when you close your nose, you can really hear if you sound clear or if you sound nasal. If you sound like this, then it's gonna be nasal. If you sound like this, it's clear. You probably will have something in between, more like this, where it sounds kind of nasal, but not totally nasal, but it also doesn't sound clear. Now it's very clear. Now, what I want you to do is nyang, 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 with a closed nose. Nyang, 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 nyang. Because this is the feeling when you really, like your palate drops totally and is really, really nasal. And then what I want you to do is to continue with that feeling of nasality to speak. So now I speak like this and it's very nasal. And then I lift my palate and it's very clear. And then you have the most extremes, because when you want to train your palate, you want the extremes. You want the total loss of the palate loose, hanging loose totally, and then the palate going high and very, very being very active, and then loose again and active. It's like the gym. In the gym, you don't go and hold for 1.5 hours. You go contract, release, contract, release. Same thing here. You release, contract, release, contract, release, right? And what you want to do is you want to first find how the palate really drops, really drops, because this will sensitize, first of all, your muscles and your motor skills, and second of all, your ears. So when you really drop it, and then you talk a little like this, and then you raise the palate up, and you really speak 1 or 2 sentences with a high palate, and then again a sentence with a low palate, and then again a sentence with a high palate, you will discover that maybe after a while, your palate doesn't come all the way up anymore. Maybe then your palate starts coming only up to there, which is like half high, and then it goes down again, and then it's half high again. But you never get to actually there where the palate is super high. And that is a training for your motor skills, for your palate motor skills, controlling your palate and working on the strength of a palate, but also, and more importantly, for your ears, right? You want to train your ears to actually hear the difference, the very, very faint difference between this and that. So this is with the palate very high, and this is with the palate a little hanging. It's just slightly hanging. It's not that much, but you can hear it when I do it, I hope. And then when I raise the palate fully, then it sounds just a little different. Now the nasal sounds, N, M, and G, obviously even with the high palate, when you close your nose, they will sound very nasal because the air has to go to the nose, right? But all the vowels, all the vowels should sound very, very clear. And that is how you practice not to sound nasal anymore, because it's not only a muscle thing, but it's an ear thing. You have to practice your hearing, how to hear that you're even nasal, that you have this slight nasal, the slight nasal sound that I'm doing right now, that you have that in your voice. You want to sensitize your ears for it. And the best way is to close your nose and then speak. And then totally totally drop the palate and then raise the palate up. And when your palate only comes to like there, you will probably feel some vibration in your nose, and you will start to hear that it's not clear, it's not like this. And that is really like the best exercise to really play with the palate. It can be playful, and it should be playful because you want to play around with yourself, with your voice. What you thinking over there? Yes, you want to play around with, you know, your palate and your little tiny muscles and have fun, because discovering your body and discovering what you can do is fun and should be fun, because otherwise it's not sustainable. You're not going to go and do exercises every day if they're a drag, right? If it's like, oh, I have to work out again. No, you want to have fun with it, right? And this is a very fun exercise that you can do in order to get your palate muscles moving. And they need to go forward and backward to have the optimal training. And especially for the ear, your focus is the ear, sensitizing your ear towards hearing. How high is my palate? Is my palate maybe half high like it's right now? Or is my palate super high like it's right now? If that content helps you anyhow, somehow, please leave me a like and a subscribe on my channel, and I will see you around. Want to learn how to do these things that I talk about in my videos? YouTube is great, but a course with an actual methodology is the thing that will give you real results. I have a course called Vocal Foundation on my website. I created a free tour where you can learn the what, why, who, how, and the content, the benefits, the finances, prerequisites, everything about the course. So if you're eager to get your voice to the next level, follow the first link in the description and sign up for my Vocal Foundation free tour.